Satan Prasanga.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. How are you doing? I pray that all is well with you and your families at this time. So today we're moving on to the next letter, and it's a letter to Vamanadev Prabhu and Indira Mataji. So let's read through the letter. So letter to Vamanadev and Indira. This is Delhi, 8th December 1971, 71-1208. Oklahoma City. Prabhupada starts, My dear Vamanadev and Indira Dasi, please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letters dated 11th of the 20th, 71. That's interesting, this is written differently, this date. And I have noted the contents. I am very pleased that you have opened another center for spreading Lord Chaitanya's sublime Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. I know you are very expert in this business of opening temples because you have done very nicely in St. Louis Temple. So Prabhupada is appreciating this couple that have opened a temple in St. Louis, and now they're trying to open another temple here. So he's very appreciative, especially of couples of grihastas, because this is not the responsibility of the grihastas. This is the responsibility of the sannyasis, the preachers. But Prabhupada, with his enthusiasm, he's inspired everyone. He's fired up. We used to use the term fired up. He's fired up everyone with the spirit of preaching in Lord Chaitanya's mission. So Prabhupada goes on to say, now you simply carry out our routine program very nicely there in Oklahoma City, and you will meet with the same success. I am encouraged, especially that my householder disciples are carrying out this task of opening centers all over the world. So when the first devotees, Malti Mataji and Yamuna, Gurudas, Shyamsundar Prabhu, when they went to London and they opened up a temple there, they managed to get the manna, George Harrison's manna. And then Prabhupada was saying, just see, my Guru Maharaj had sent sannyasis. I am sending grihastas. So, because this is the duty of a sannyasi. Sannyasi is right at the forefront, and he's trying to create environments by which people can practice Krishna consciousness. But grihastas are doing this job, so they are like sannyasis. So this is a very difficult task, and to be dedicated like this. It's not that they're any different, it's the level of dedication. Because the grihasta has more family responsibilities. And the sannyasi, he dedicates BMW, body, mind and words, completely to Krishna. So the grihasta cannot dedicate body, because he has to take care of his own family, and he has to work and he has to earn an income. But Prabhupada has inspired these devotees so much that they're even committing full time, yet they're grihastas. Just see. This is an amazing level of inspiration that Prabhupada has done. He goes on to say, such position of leadership and organization is regarded as Krishna's special favor upon you. So at the end of the Chaturshloki 10.11, Krishna says there, Tesham evanukamparta aham jnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashritaha. So he says, for those who I give special mercy, So Prabhupada writes that word special mercy in that verse. So what is special mercy? Mercy alone is special. Isn't mercy special? So now there's an adjective there, special mercy. What is this? So this is Krishna's special favor upon that devotee. So it's a very beautiful verse. Read that verse and see. So Prabhupada says here, because you are forced in this way to become very responsible and set the ideal KC example. So because it forces one to take shelter of Krishna, you have to be very responsible now as a leader. And these are young devotees, so many responsibilities. So what they've just done, they've dovetailed their propensity to take care of one household with all their family in it, to take care of a whole temple, and everybody there is their family. So they've just extended their responsibility from a household to a temple. But practically they are miles apart. The responsibility is huge in a temple. So interesting also here, Prabhupada writes KC, Krishna consciousness. We usually use these abbreviations. I don't like them so much personally because we don't make any advancement by just calling somebody KC or calling somebody by, RS or something like that, or DP or RK or whatever it is. It doesn't mean anything on its own. But by chanting the names, Krishna consciousness, Krishna Chaitanya, so like that, by chanting the names, you definitely make advancement. So try to get into that habit. It's easier saying KC, but it's better saying the person's name. So Prabhupada writes here, and in this way you will make very nice advancement in spiritual life. And then he goes on to say, as for your questions about householder life, first of all, who is looking after Oklahoma City Temple? If you are the president, then what is the use of opening center if you cannot attend all temple functions? So Prabhupada is saying, if you're going to be the temple president, you need to attend all the programs. What's the use opening the temple and then you have to work or you have other obligations? So Prabhupada is just asking him frankly, and then he says, who is looking after the temple management? So who is doing that? Do you have others helping you there? Who is doing it? Because you're responsible, you are the father there. You're not just a manager, you are the father of everyone. So during a festival or during a big program, you need to be there. And I think it's something that I've attended a few temples. I've attended a few programs where very few, or if any, of the managers actually attend. So Prabhupada is giving a bit of a reprimand here, so be careful. If you are in charge, either you should live there or there's no need for such temple. So Prabhupada is saying, I'm even saying no need for this temple then if you're not going to be there. So it's very important that management, higher management like a temple president actually is very connected to the temple and very much part of the temple programs. Of course, it is not that anyone is excluded from being my disciple if they do not 100% attend all the temple programs, but they should be encouraged to attend as far as possible. So Prabhupada is saying, please attend. And I think now we can appreciate during the lockdown. When last did we have some Sunday feast prasad? Oh, everybody is crying now. When are we going to have some nice prasadam, some Maha prasadam? Janmashtami is coming, and I don't even know if I'll get a grain. We're appreciating all those days that we took for granted now. Prabhupada goes on to say here, living outside and working are not prohibited, and it is not recommended that such strict rules as no outside living should be enforced. So Prabhupada is saying it's no problem if you're staying outside, but be very much part of the temple programs, because that you are the leader there. If you don't attend, where do you expect any others to attend? So Prabhupada is just bringing out that point. But living in the association of devotees is better. He's saying be in the association of devotees if you can. That's why many devotees have built their community around the temple, like Alachua, like Nairobi temple also, very beautiful community in Kenya, Nairobi, Mayapur of course. So you can live in the association of devotees. Prabhupada goes on to say here, from our side there is never any objection if it is inconvenient for temple living. But if you are in charge of organizing your new center, I think you should live in the company of the other devotees there, to train them and work with them for distributing our books and magazines and pushing on this Krishna consciousness movement full time. So Prabhupada is saying, who's going to train these people otherwise? The new people want to come and join. Who will train them? They're looking up to a leader. They're not looking up to a bhakta leader. They're looking up to a leader. So they want to see the presence of the leaders. I think it's a good comment Prabhupada is making here. And I can understand this from the point of view of a manager, that it is required that you do attend. At least the manager should be present there. At least the temple president should be present. Prabhupada goes on to say, but if there is some difficulty to do this or some problem with getting money, then you should consult further with your GBC man to make adjustment. So sometimes the temple runs into big debts. Oof, I know what that's like. And what do you do now? Do you still continue with the temple? Do you close it down, which you don't want to do? There's a lot of questions that come up. So Prabhupada is practically addressing all these points. He goes on to say, preaching is our first class engagement, including Sankirtan party, selling books, speaking like that. But if for some reason a devotee is unable to do these things, then I say that they are allowed to live outside and work as a concession. So Prabhupada is saying first class is doing full-time service activity. But if you can't, then the concession is, okay, do some work activity, something connected to Krishna, something connected, dharmically, and then earn a living that way. But first choice is to live in the temples, which is very rare these days. Very rare to find people full-time in the temple. Our service for Krishna is voluntary and can never be forced. So Prabhupada is saying, must remember, everybody who joins Krishna consciousness is a volunteer. And I think it's important that from time to time we actually reflect on this, that everybody here is voluntary. Nobody here is obliged to be there, but they're doing it out of love. They're doing it out of the love for Krishna and the devotees. Prabhupada goes on to say, and whatever position in life one holds, he can serve Krishna in that way. But yourselves, being such qualified and experienced preachers, what is the benefit of engaging in second-class activity when there is so much preaching work to be done? So Prabhupada is saying, no, it's like kind of saying, you do what you like, but I would like you to do the preaching. And of course, preaching is first-class activity. And they have good potential for it. They have good propensity for it. So Prabhupada is saying, better you do this. Why do second-class service? It is service as well, but it's second-class service. So Prabhupada is making that point there. And then he says, practically speaking, our Krishna conscious philosophy will save the whole world from the most dangerous condition. That is a fact. He's saying this philosophy, if we understand it, and we said yesterday why we're speaking about Darwinism and other things. Why? Because everyone is promoting atheism. But Krishna consciousness is speaking Paro Dharma. So it's the panacea for humanity. So now you just become convinced yourselves of this fact and help me spread this movement for serving the world with all conviction and attention. So Prabhupada is saying, please help me do this. So we were very inspired in the earlier days by this mood of helping Prabhupada. And this is how the first devotees also came. They just wanted to help Prabhupada. They saw his sincerity, they saw his eagerness, and they just wanted to help the Swami. Brahmananda always says this. We just wanted to help the Swami. I remember Brahmananda once in Vrindavan, he spoke and he was crying and he said, all I wanted to do, I didn't know how to dance and I was, he was a bit overweight. So he said, all I wanted to do was to dance, to put a smile on the Swami's face, to make him happy. That's why I danced. His brother Gargamuni would say, I didn't want to offer obeisances, but I asked Swami, do you have to offer? And then Prabhupada said, yes, if you continue to offer, then gradually you'll like it. Gradually you'll get purified. So, he didn't want to do these things, but because Swamiji said. So they really loved Prabhupada so deeply. You can only have sacrifice if there is love. And this is a fact. If somebody is sacrificing, it can only happen because of love. Well, sometimes it can happen because of selfishness. That you want to achieve something. So you're driven either by self-love, narcissism, or you're driven by Krishna's love, Krishna Prem, love of God. So one of the two will actually make someone really sacrifice. So Prabhupada goes on to say, and in this way you will be performing the highest type of activity, and very soon you will go back home, back to Godhead. Know it for certain. Wow, Prabhupada gives a certainty there. That's so encouraging, so amazing. I have no objection if you keep deities at home. So they're also asking about deities. And then he ends in his classic way, I hope this will meet you in good health and a cheerful mood. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So I hope we learned something about practical aspect of Krishna consciousness management and execution today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.